All right, I'm back. If you're wondering why I'm laying like this, why I changed it over here, I'm in my room, I'm on my bed, I have my laptop on my computer, and sitting up straight like this for an extended period of time, like I've got good posture, I don't have that good of posture, so that tends to hurt. So instead, I've got like 4 or 5 pillows back here, like an Attack on Titan pillow, that I lay on in order to basically, that's just more comfortable for me. All right. Anyways, here. So what have we got here? We've got Shaman. So Shaman, what are their 2 synergies? Synergy number 1 is Totem Synergy. And there's like 2 cards it's supposed to pay off. So first one here we have is the Stone Ray. For the rest of your game, your totems have +2 attack. Compared as the Steward to Steward, it's a similar effect. Like ultimately, if you get the right cards for this, it's definitely a great card. I don't know, it's something where you build your deck around it if you do get it. So ultimately, great card, 4-star plus card, but like you need this for a lot of your other cards to work. The other one here in Epic is Jagged Totem. So cost 1 less for each totem you've summoned this game. Honestly, you'll probably get it out as like an 8 mana 8/8, maybe even a 7 mana 8/8, possibly 6 mana 8/8. But it's like, it's a little bit too unreliable in that sense if you don't have the deck built around it. So I think, realistically, most games you're probably going to get it out as like an 8 mana 8/8, and that's really not that great. So in the right deck, this goes up in value, but I think, honestly, it's not that great. That's why I have it as a 2-star minus. So what are the totem cards? Well, we've got this. 2 mana, Carving Chisel. After hero attacks, summon a random basic totem. Alright, if I look at this, 2 mana 1/3 weapon is bad. Summon 3 random basic totems is fine. Like, I'm not saying it's bad, I'm saying it's fine. It's just, to me, it's not worth it. I think it's a 2-star card, maybe a 3-star card, maybe I'm underrating it a little, but I think like you're just not getting enough value out of it if you don't have either of the totem cards. So, and you need the totem cards first before you even think about taking this. The other one here is Party Favor Totem. At the end of your turn, summon a random basic totem, infuse 2, summon 2 instead. Is this really better than the Mana Tide? Like, I don't think so. So, like, again, like, you get a lot of bodies for Infuse, and you definitely got really good Infuse cards for this, but I think this is another card where you only take it if you really have the Totem Synergy, so 2 stars. So, that's set number 1. I'm going to get this out of the way here. Criminal lineup, 8 mana, choose a friendly minion, summon 3 copies of it, overload 2. Alright, so for this, I'm like, how would I say this? It's just, it costs, where is it? Okay, criminal lineup here. Okay, it costs too much. Now, if you get it to go off on something, it's insane. Like, if you get this to go off on a 4-drop, you're basically getting like 12 mana's worth of stuff for on 8 mana. That's insane. If you get this to go off on a taunt, you're getting insane stuff. But you probably only want 1 of this, and it's something where you need to have the board for it. So ultimately, like, it's a 3-star minus. It's okay. Now, the key thing for Shaman is this: Evolve. Muck Pool. Transform a friendly minion into one that costs 1 more. It's basically, it's Evolve, but you get to choose the target 3 times for 1 mana. Convincing Disguise. Transform a friendly minion into one that costs 2 more. Infuse 4. Transform all friendly minions instead. So, it's basically Super Evolve instead of everything like that. Instead of just 1 card, it's every card. You've got Primordial Wave. Transform enemy minions into ones that cost 1 less, and friendly minions into ones that cost 1 more. It's Devolve plus Evolve combined. And there's enough cards in there where the Devolve aspect is worth 3 mana. Where there's enough cards where, like, you just need that removal, and the Evolve aspect is kind of like a bonus. So ultimately, like, these are all great cards. And so, like, ultimately, these are all independently great cards. You don't really need a build around for it. So ultimately, like Muckpool here, I think it's a 5-star plus card because you get to choose that and you get to have that on hand. Because there are certain cards where you want to have that evolve immediately to massively increase. I've gone over some of them before. There was the 4/4 Rush that summons a 2/2 copy of a card from your hand, and you can just play that and basically BS out a really, really high card. Primordial Wave. I have that as a 4-star card just because I value that transform effect on enemy minions really, really high, plus the evolve. The here, Convincing Disguise. I have that as well as a 4-star card. Super Evolve is going to be very good. So, these cards are good by themselves, but they also have payoff cards. Krug Caretaker. 4 mana, 1/1, Battlecry, summon a 3/5 elemental with taunt. You're getting a Sentient Shieldmaster, which is a good card, plus an extra 1/1. Like, that's just great by itself. And there's Evolve synergy. So, again, Sentient Shieldmaster, that's like a this should actually be like a Sentient Shieldmaster is like a low 3-star card. This is kind of like a 3-star card by itself, but the Evolve synergy means like you might take this here. This is like a mid to high 3-star card, while Sentient Shieldmaster is like a low 3-star card, just for reference. And then the legendary here, Baroness Vash. If this would transform into a minion, summon that minion instead. So basically, you play an Evolve on this, and instead of Vash transforming, you just get a 5-drop off of it. So, I mean, you have enough Evolve stuff. There's probably going to be Evolve stuff coming in from the old sets. So, Vash, she's a 3-star plus card. She's just like a really good card. Like, that's all that needs to be said. Okay, Warlock. So, Warlock's big thing is imps. So here, basically any imp card that you have there's a lot of stuff here that has imp synergy. So here, like you have the legendary here, Imp King Grafam, resurrect 4 friendly imps, infuse 5, give your imps +2/+2. Now, with the way Hearthstone Spaghetti Code works, there is a case that something like Pandaren Imp Porter or the Coppertail Imposter count as imps. Because, like Mechanical Whelp counts as a whelp for Raid Boss Onyxia. So, there is a case where these imps will work. Like, these cards that aren't imps will trigger the imp effects. I'm not going to rely on that. I'm just going to say, what Warlock imp cards do they have? They really don't have that much. Like, I don't think you're going to have 4 friendly imps unless you're taking demonic circles or things like that. So, the one imp card you do have in this set is Mischievous Imp. So you get 4 mana for a copy of this, so you get 2 3/3s, and potentially you get 3 3/3s out of this. So this is a really good card. I mean, and then there are like hand buff effects that Warlock will have. So overall, this is a 4-star card just because you're going to get a lot of stats out of it. And again, you can do hand buff effects onto this, and those do exist. But then you have the imp cards. Has +1 attack for each imp you control. You're not going to have imps, the Flustered Librarian here, so ultimately, like, it's a 2-star card. It's a 1/3. Draw a card. Draw a card. Repeat for each imp you control. So again, I don't think you're going to have imps. It's 2 mana, draw 1. That's bad. That's a 1-star card. You got here, Vile Library, location, only 2. Give a friendly minion +1/+1. Repeat for each imp you control. Are you going to have imps? I don't think so. So again, like this is just like, it's like give a minion +1/+1 twice. Like there is a case where that's just good enough. So it's like a 2-star card because it's not complete garbage and because you might have some. This is a card you can just play and then wait until you do have your imp. Like you will eventually get the synergy on this card. It's like that's the imp stuff. Alright, then I'll just get this out of the way. Tome Tampering, shuffle 1 copies of your hand into your deck, and then discard your hand. 0-star card, don't take this, it's just complete garbage. So, the other thing that they have, we've got 2 different things here that benefit from shadow spells. We've got here Shadowborn. 3 mana, 3/3, reduce the cost of the highest shadow spell in your hand by 3. That sounds really good. I mean, that does sound really good. And there are decent shadow spells for Warlock. the problem is that most of the Warlock shadow spells, like if you go over here, actually, I don't need spell here. I can just do spell school shadow. Here's the problem. Most of the shadow spells here are super cheap, or are cards you're not going to take. So it's good, but like this is good, but I don't think it's like great. I don't think it's great. I think it's like a low 3-star card. I think it's like a little bit above a Yeti, which that's a lot of stats given for the effect. So I think that's one thing here. And you got here Lady Darkvein, 5 mana 3/6, summon 2/1 shades. Each gains a death rattle equal to your last shadow spell. So whatever the last shadow spell you cast, those 2/1 shades will be that death rattle. And I honestly, so that one right there. The problem with this is that it's so many shadow spells are cards you don't want to play. Like you don't want to Soul Rend if you don't want to. Drag Below can target random things. Unstable Shovel can target random things. Can target random things. You won't take it. Can target random things. Can target random things. Like a lot of this stuff is stuff that you just don't want, and it's actually so bad that you would not play this rather than trigger it. So I give it a low 3-star card. What Warlock does have is they do have 2 good shadow spells they got in here. Suffocating Shadows, when you play or discard this, destroy a random enemy minion. It's a 3-star card. It's basically a Warlock version of Deadly Shot in a class that already has a lot of removal. So worse than Deadly Shot, still a good card. And finally, Shadow Bolts. Summon a 3/5 Shadow with Taunt. If a minion died this turn, summon another. So if you have any sort of board, this is great. So because you can almost always get it off. The problem are going to be the times when you don't have a board. And that's the reason why I'm going 3 stars. There are going to be enough times where you do not have board control, or your opponent has board control and you have nothing on the board that you can play, and that's just going to make this a bad card. So ultimately, it's really strong when it goes off, but I don't think it's going to go off reliably enough. And that's Warlock. And finally, last and almost least, Warrior. So the Warrior's big thing is damaged minions. I'm just going to say it right out. Damaged minions, it has never worked. You don't have enough stuff for it. It's not going to work. So Decimator Ogre here, gain +1/+1 for each damaged minion, then attack all enemies. So if you have Whirlwind or something like that, then yeah, this can work. If you've got things there are cases where this can work, but I don't think it's reliable enough. So it's kind of like a quasi board clear there, and so it's kind of like a quasi board clear no matter what. So ultimately 3 stars there. So I'll go over the other cards here, the ones that kind of like the payoff cards. So the payoff cards here, Anima Extractor. Whenever a friendly minion takes damage, give a random minion in your hand +1. So you want to deal damage to your own minion. Like this. Has +2 attack and charge while damaged. So this is a card you want to damage so that it will work. So if we take a look at this, like Anima Extractor, I think this is actually a halfway decent card because you can usually get like 2 triggers off on it. And so I would say that's a 3-star card. The Crazed Wrench here, it's a 1/4 where you need to damage it. I don't think there's enough on it. So really it's just like a 1/4. And okay, that's a 2-star card. I can't really go that high on it. Imbued Axe. After Hero's Axe, give your damage minion +1/+1 or infuse +2/+2 instead. So like what you want to do, I'll tell you exactly what you want to do with this. You want to do Riot. You want to take Riot, play a bunch of minions, play Riot on the board, have them attack. They are all damaged, and then you want to attack afterwards with the Infused Axe to buff them. That's basically what you want to do. That's the combo. In reality, you kind of don't want to do that. If you damage your minion will attack first. but you want to buff your minion before it attacks. So you can kind of see like there's a bunch of anti-synergy here with all this stuff, and it's just not going to work. All right. So anyway, going over the cards quickly. Crazed Wrench, 2-star card. I think it's not worth it. Extractor, 3-star card. You get 2 buffs for it. That's fine. Infused Axe here. This one here, I would say it's probably like a low 3-star card. A 3-mana 2/3 is mediocre. You want to play other weapons, but sometimes you don't have them. Like maybe there'll be times when this works. Maybe there'll be times where it just doesn't. That's the best way to put it. Oh yeah, and you also have this Sanguine Depths. 1 mana, deal 1 damage to a minion and give it +1 attack. It's 3 stars because ultimately it's 3 pings for 1 mana. And that's not bad. Or it's a kind of like an attack buff, 3 attack buffs for 1 mana. I mean, those are all fine. Like, is it good? No, but it's fine. Riot, I had over here, and I talked about it a little bit before. This is a 4-star card just because it's kind of like a board clear. It's like a board clear. It's like Devouring Swarm. So you can give your stuff rush. You can have your minions already on the board have Wind Fury with this. So there's a lot of use cases for this. All right. And then the rest of the stuff that they have here, I'll just go through because there's not really like a thing for them. Conker's Banner. Reveal a card from each player's deck 3 times. Draw any of yours that cost more. As Warrior, you can't really play the long game. You want to play the quick game. So because of this in Arena, this isn't going to work. I think like maybe 1 out of 3 it'll work. So ultimately low 2-star card. I really don't like it. You've got here, Suspicious Pirate. Discover a weapon. If your opponent guesses your choice, they get a copy. That's fine. Like even if your opponent gets the weapon, you know what the weapon is. And for this, like as a warrior, because of your hero power, you're going to have more health. So for the Suspicious Pirate, I think it's 4-star card. Get a weapon is really, really good. And I think it benefits you a lot more than it benefits your opponent, even if they do guess it. Burden of Pride. Summon 3/1/3 jailers with taunt. If you have 20 or less health, give them +1/+1. You're not going to have 20 or less health by turn 4, which hurts it. And by the late game, 3/2/4 taunts is for 4 mana. It's not bad, but it's not like insane. So Burden of Pride, that's ultimately I'd say a 3-star card. It's a fine card. It's not a great card. And then the one real good card Warrior has, Vermoria, Living Blade. 7 mana for it, and after this attacks, equip it, which means it becomes a weapon. So basically, what you can do is you can have this attack these small, like if it's like the one you draft is going to be a minion, but you can have this attack something, and then you can make it a weapon, and then it's going to be protected unless your opponent has weapon removal. Then you use your weapon, you attack something, then you use this, you attack a small thing, and you hide it again, and then you keep on doing that. So you get kind of like a Fort and Wind Fury that you're able to protect. And that's ultimately really, really good card. I think that's a 5-star card. All right, and that's it. That is all my reviews. As always, feel free to leave comments. Feel free if you think I made a mistake. If I misjudged anything, feel free to let me know. Thank you all for everyone who's watched, and I will see you uncovering the murder at Castle Nathria.